Welcome back to Feel Good Alcohol Free. And if it's your first time here, I am so honored that you're joining us today. This podcast is designed to help women see that the way that they have been living, maybe where alcohol is running the show, isn't how they have to be living. This is why I've created my coaching programs and why I do this work, because I know that there is so much life to live on the other side of alcohol. I'm Lindsay, and I am your host and your sober coach, and I'm so excited for today's episode because we are talking about one of my favorite truths. Your ability to quit drinking is directly tied to your willingness to be uncomfortable. And I can't wait to dive into this. It is my favorite topic. Before we dive in, I have to tell you something that I am genuinely thrilled about because it's the best time of year to start your alcohol-free journey with me. Right now, when you join Feel Good AF, my group coaching program, you're going to get the rest of the year free. You're going to kick off the next round in January. But starting now means that you're going to get an immediate 45-minute holiday mindset one-on-one session with me, instant access to the private online community, and full access to the weekly group coaching calls through the end of the year. So this means that instead of a normal 3-month container, you're going to dive in now and you're going to be with me until the end of March. And if you've been thinking about working with me privately, this is also your moment too. When you join my 3-month one-on-one coaching package, which already includes 10 private sessions, I'm adding 2 extra 45-minute sessions for free. And you can use one now and you can use another one whenever you want. So there's no reason to start all of this work in January. You can start now and actually feel ahead in January instead of behind. None of this awkward mindset trying to get motivated for the hype of January, that week between Christmas and New Year's. Like, I hate that week. I never know what to do with myself. It's just this endless cycle of eating Christmas cookies and wearing sweatpants. So don't sit on this, because this means that your transformation journey takes you all the way through March. And just imagine where you could be by spring. You're going to be clear-headed. You're going to be so proud, and you're going to be totally at peace with your decision not to drink. That's like over 4 months of us being together and doing this work and taking care of you. Let's get into it, because today's topic, it's the one that separates people who think about changing from the people who actually create it. Here's what I want you to know. When we are trying to make behavioral changes in our lives, specifically around quitting drinking, it's going to be uncomfortable. Every single woman that I have ever worked with, and including myself, hits this same wall. It's like, we want to feel better. We want to just be 6 months sober, but we don't want to feel bad getting there. When I look at this ability to be uncomfortable, this willingness to just sit in the discomfort, that is why you are going to be successful here. There is no getting to the other side of alcohol without some discomfort. When you can think about all of the things that you've done in your life already, all that you've accomplished, you've experienced discomfort. You can do this. I already know that you can. The first time I took a break from drinking, this was sort of the beginning of my sober curious phase of my journey, where I actually was reading Quit Lit and taking a break that wasn't just revolved around some sort of fitness challenge or like nutrition challenge. I was actually taking this intentional break with the idea of observing, like, can I be a sober person? And so this happened for me right around now in 2018. It was around Thanksgiving weekend where I started a 30-day break. And the things I did in that time period blew my mind. The fact that I didn't drink the whole long holiday weekend of Thanksgiving weekend in the US. Normally that would have been fueled with Friday, Saturday, decorating the house, getting the Christmas tree up, doing all of these things that always involved drinking. And I just said, you know what? I can't keep procrastinating on this. And so that Saturday of Thanksgiving weekend, I didn't drink, and I didn't drink on Sunday, and I just couldn't believe it. For the first time, my husband and I decorated a Christmas tree, and I didn't drink a bottle of wine. In my adult life, I had never decorated a Christmas tree without drinking wine. And so there was a little FOMO and sadness going through it. It was a little emotionally raw, but I also knew that if I could do that, like I had to break the cycle. And if I didn't try it then, I was going to have to wait a whole other year to decorate my Christmas tree without drinking. So I did it. Some of the other things that I did in that break were I went on a business trip. I spent a week at a training in Washington, D.C. I flew there. So I did the airport without drinking. I did fancy hotel bars without drinking. I walked around the Christmas markets in DC, and I didn't pop in to get a glass of wine or anything. And I came home at the end of the week. Now, normally when I would come home from a work trip, my husband would be used to me wanting to just, veg out, decompress, have a lot of alone time, but I didn't. I landed on Friday afternoon and went out to dinner with my husband after being on a work trip all week. Like, I couldn't believe it. And I had energy. I wasn't totally drained. This was just such a massive accomplishment. These are the little milestones, or in this case, I mean, that was a really big milestone, that when we do this work intentionally and we plan for it, we start to see what is really possible. I'm not going to sugarcoat this. This was just the very beginning of me getting serious about quitting drinking. I had many other raw moments after that journey, but this was a big win, and it really started to help me see, oh my gosh, I can do this. And the other thing I did is I went to a holiday party. I went to our friends, they have a holiday party every year. And there had been times where we had to spend the night unplanned because of drinking too much. That didn't happen that year. I went to it. I brought my mocktail stuff. I did the thing. And that was so uncomfortable for me, but I knew that if I could do it, I was going to be so proud of myself. And there were little bits of, you're not drinking, or what's in your glass? And there were times that I felt the urge to just say, oh, I'm the designated driver tonight. I'm driving. And that's okay. It wasn't untrue. I did, become the designated driver that night. But this is the thing, like I was stumbling around my words a little bit for that holiday party, but I still did it. And it was still really uncomfortable. And there was a little sadness about how maybe I didn't have as much fun as I had in the years before. But I also didn't wake up the next day wondering if I said anything to offend somebody. I didn't miss a workout that next day. I still enjoyed a whole Sunday with my husband doing things and going holiday shopping. And so the rest of my weekend didn't become a waste. And that felt so good. And so these were just more milestones in my journey. This is the other reason why I say your number of days alcohol free is not your only measurement of success. Now, these events happened for me basically 20 months before I finally had my last drink, but they were still so important in my journey because I was learning how to get more comfortable showing up around alcohol as a non-drinker. This is so normal. Everyone who does this feels a little uncomfortable. And there's these little awkward, conversations. And there's always this need that I've found where we feel like we need to explain why we're not drinking. And that's the piece that I want people to know is like you don't have to explain why. And this is where some of that awkward discomfort comes in because we want to over explain. I'm not drinking right now because, and like listing off all of these reasons that feel like good excuses. But really just saying, like, this is what I help women with a lot is like, let's find the language when you're in that situation that feels good to you and feels true. Because if it's just a list of canned excuses, it's not going to feel good. And part of this journey is discovering yourself and feeling authentic and genuine. And when we're looking at canned excuses as to why we're not drinking, which some of them are just total BS anyway, then it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel true. And that can actually make you feel even more uncomfortable in it. So finding language that feels good to say is so important in this because that's what's going to bring you your emotional awareness and your reminder of what your goals are and why you're doing this. Being truthful. And you're going to go into all of these situations and you're going to realize how much you used to use, wine or alcohol to buffer everything. Just know this is a journey and discomfort is going to be the thing that moves you forward. Discomfort doesn't mean that you're doing something wrong or that you're messing it up. It means that you're just doing something new. It's different. You used to live one way, the version of you who drank alcohol, and now you're saying, I want to do this a different way. It's going to feel weird after a little while because we have our comfort zone. Good or bad, you know the outcome when you drink. We'll use a holiday party or a social gathering as an example, just for the case of this. So it's like, you go, you know what happens if you drink. You're probably going to get a louder. You're going to get a little funnier maybe to yourself at first. It's that social lubricant. It's predictable and it's safe and you know the outcome. It also leads to the maybe saying something that you didn't want to say, staying out later than you intended, drinking more than you wanted. And then, of course, the next day aftermath, oh my gosh, what did I say? And the anxiety and the hangover and spending all day just to feel like yourself again. And it's stagnant. But when you're in the growth zone, when you are changing your identity, it's uncomfortable. There's ambiguity attached to that. It's uncertain. It feels awkward. But that's how you know that you're transforming. This is the transformative piece. I want to talk about what's actually happening in your brain when you step into discomfort. I actually had a boss and a mentor once earlier in my career, and he said to me, Lindsay, I need you to get comfortable being uncomfortable because that is how you're going to be successful here. And that was probably, I don't know, maybe 17 years ago that this was said to me. And it just landed with me. And in that moment, I knew that I was trying to be this confident person who knew it all. And I didn't want anyone to think I didn't know my stuff. And that was really what he was implying was like, be the student, be uncomfortable. If you don't know or you're worried or whatever, like we have to have a little bit of vulnerability there and humility in our lives so that we can grow. It's just something that I now teach the women who hire me how to do. And it stuck with me my whole life. Or my whole, last 17-ish years here. So let's talk about the science of this. And, this is one of my favorite things to teach. I love always throwing in some truth, science-backed pieces to why we are the way we are. And here's the thing. Your brain is wired to keep you safe. not to keep you happy. And it doesn't know the difference between emotional discomfort and physical danger. It just kind of senses a threat. And ambiguity can be what that is, what triggers that. So when you stop drinking, your brain is interpreting that shift as a risk because it's been conditioned to expect this dopamine hit from alcohol. So when you take away the alcohol, your brain kind of panics for a little while and tries to bring you back to that familiar thing, that routine. Hey, wait, no, this is when we have a drink. And this is what psychologists call homeostasis, your brain's way of keeping the internal environment completely stable. And it's why change can feel wrong even when it's right. It's why doing the thing, even though it's something we want to be doing and it's good for us, that feels harder than the other thing. Here's how you can look at this. It's like discomfort does not mean that you aren't making progress. It's just your brain rewiring itself. We have to rewire the way we operate. And when you ride that wave of discomfort, instead of reacting to it and shutting it down, you're teaching your brain its new pattern. It's the one that says, I can be here. I can be in this discomfort and I'm okay. I made it. I can do this. And every single time that you do that, whether it's a holiday dinner, it's a work event, or just a random Tuesday night, you are literally reshaping the neural pathways that once made drinking feel so automatic. So if you're feeling edgy or emotional or like you're crawling out of your skin, it's just like, this is what growth feels like. This is growth in action, in progress. So I hope that that kind of settles you. I want you to feel like the discomfort is totally normal because it is. In Feel Good AF, I often talk about this with the women in my programming, and I call it this discomfort gap. It's like there's this time frame where you're letting go of the old version of you and you're not quite stepped into this new version of you. It's like old identity, there's some layers that we're trying to shed, but they sometimes creep in as our security blanket. And then we feel this awkward teenage awkwardness kind of before we fully step into our new identity. And so the only way to move through this awkward stage is to stay in it long enough for our body and our brain to recalibrate. If you ever feel like you're taking, oh, I take 3 steps forward and then 2 steps back, or I have 5-day alcohol-free streak and then I drink all weekend. What's happening here is that you get into this point of discomfort and you feel it and then you retreat. You need that comfort. You're like, I need to go back into my comfort zone. I can't be in this discomfort anymore. And that's okay. That happens so much in this journey. Growth happens though when you can stay in this discomfort just long enough to prove to yourself that you can handle it. Because I can tell you how you can handle it. I know that you can handle it and you're capable, but we have to get through it and move through it to prove it to ourselves. I want to look back a little bit here into the holidays. We're in the heat of it here. We've got Thanksgiving in the US knocking on the door. I want you to think about it this way. Maybe you're not meant to just nail your first sober Thanksgiving, but you're meant to experience it. This isn't about getting through Thanksgiving without drinking. It's about experiencing Thanksgiving without alcohol running the show, without always keeping one eye on the wine bottle on the table, without wondering, oh, is there another bottle available for when dinner's over or whatever? And then continuing this cycle. You are gathering data. I want you to notice what is actually hard and what isn't actually hard. Think about, what do you want to get out of Thanksgiving? What do you want your Thanksgiving day to be like? And then what does it mean if alcohol is part of it? How is your Thanksgiving not going to turn out the way that you want it to if alcohol is there? Your confidence is not going to grow if you stay in your comfort zone. And your comfort zone right now might be saying, F it, I'm just going to drink on Thanksgiving because I don't want to deal with the discomfort of telling people why I'm not drinking, or I don't want people asking me, or I'm just going to do this later, because it's always kicking the can to later. And your confidence is built in those little crap, I can do hard things moments. So allowing yourself to sit in the discomfort just for long enough, then you're going to feel so good and confident after. Okay. Nothing really great happens in the comfort zone. Everything amazing and epic happens in the discomfort. This is something that I know, and you know it too. And I know part of this thing with quitting drinking, it's so many layers of us. It's not just the version of us who has started to drink after work every day. And it's not just the version of us who used to drink a glass of wine after work and now she drinks a bottle. It's the version of us of who we are around our family and friends, who we are at social events, who we are when we, I don't know, go to the movies, who we are on date night, who we are at a cookout, who we are around the holiday dinner table. These are the pieces of your identity that you need to start practicing the new version of yourself. And until you're willing to sit in the discomfort of that practice, you're never going to become the new version of yourself. Your willingness to be uncomfortable is directly tied to your ability to quit drinking. That's what I really want that to sink in. I really want you to think about that, because there is no quitting drinking without a level of discomfort. So that's what you need to bring forward and have available to you. So I want to give you a little assignment. Let's think about the next week. Take a look at your calendar. Maybe it's a holiday gathering. Maybe it's some sort of cookie swap, or I don't know, holiday kickoff lunch party with your friends, whatever it is. I want you to, after each event or after any of these events, just write down in your journal or maybe a voice note to yourself, what was uncomfortable? What made you so uncomfortable? And then the next thing is, what surprised me about how I handled it? Because you are going to be surprised pleasantly at yourself for how you handle these things. And then what felt good or new about doing that, not drinking? Because the more you can reflect on these questions after all of these uncomfortable, hard things, these milestones that you get through, you're just collecting the data around it. And the more that you collect, the more confident you're going to be. You're not failing at this. You're learning, you're moving forward. And every time you put yourself in an uncomfortable position and you allow yourself to stay in that discomfort, you're building this muscle of self-trust, and you're reminding yourself, I am not the woman who breaks effing promises to herself anymore. I'm actually keeping my promises. And that feels good. That feels good AF. Like, we don't want to wake up in the morning and say, oh man, I said I wasn't going to drink last night and I did. And we all know where that internal rhetoric leads us to. And so when you keep your promises and you sit in that discomfort, which is part of my genius, I teach women exactly what to do when this discomfort strikes, because who would I be talking about how much I love helping people get comfortable being uncomfortable if I didn't have tactics and support to help them through it. But this is you. This is all muscle memory. This is retraining the brain. This is building self-trust with you. It's showing you in real time, I am capable of doing this. that December when I took my very intentional break from drinking, at the end, which I didn't wrap this up earlier, so I'll bring this full circle. On Christmas Eve, which was also my 40th birthday, I felt like I totally blew it. I drank, and I didn't just have a small slip. I drank excessively, and I was so incredibly disappointed in myself. And on Christmas Day, it was like the previous 28 or 29 days never happened. I didn't give a crap about the business trip I went on where I didn't drink, the multiple airport trips that I had taken in just those few weeks where I didn't sit at the airport bar. None of that mattered to me because I was so incredibly disappointed in myself for drinking on my birthday. And I called myself every name in the book that day. And so I just want you to know that that time in my journey was just as important as the first few weeks, from my last drink. Like, I was building the version of myself who no longer drinks. Even back in December of 2018, I was building her. And you, my beautiful friend, are building the version of yourself who doesn't drink. F your slips, F the days you drink. Don't effing worry about them anymore. I want you to just count your times of discomfort as your measure of success. So as we get even deeper into this holiday season, I want you to remember this. Discomfort is not danger. It is information for you. It's the data that you're collecting, and it is the bridge between who you are now and the version of you that you are building, the one who doesn't drink or think or worry or give a second of headspace to alcohol anymore. And if you're ready to practice that growth with support, this is your sign. You know that I want to invite you into Feel Good AF. And with the group coaching program, you can just join us for the rest of the year free. You're going to get over 4 months of being together and a bonus 45-minute one-on-one session with me. So this is all available to you to bring a little comfort into that discomfort. I'll teach you exactly how to move through it because I know that it's the secret weapon to your success. It's what's going to speed this journey up for you. And you won't start 2026 feeling behind. You're going to be so far ahead of the game. And if you're craving that one-on-one coaching support, you already know that if you sign up right now, I'm going to give you 2 extra sessions when you start. So our work together is going to take you all the way through March, and you're going to have these bonus sessions. You do not have to wait for January to start feeling good. You start by building the life that you're proud of right now, one uncomfortable moment at a time. Because all of a sudden, those things that once felt so incredibly uncomfortable, they become your new normal. And you start saying, oh my gosh, I can't believe I was so worried about that holiday party. I can't believe I was so worried about meeting my girlfriends for lunch that day. Because you're not going to be worried anymore. Okay, I hope that this episode kind of kicked you in the butt a little bit. I wanted it to really just nudge you, bring you forward, get comfortable being uncomfortable, because the quicker you can wrap your head around this, you're going to move fast, okay? If this episode was helpful for you today, I would so appreciate it if you would review it, rate it, leave a comment, let me know. And if you are wanting to take advantage and join while you can get these free bonuses inside my program, you can head to the link in the show notes. You can sign up and enroll right now or set up a time to talk with me. We can do a quick discovery call. We can chat about what it looks like, and we can get you started. We can get you right in the door. Have a fabulous start to your holiday season, and I can't wait to see you next week.